What is up, my peepholes? This is your guy, Kalai, and welcome back to Budget Buys. Now today, what I'm going to be taking a look at is the Vankyo CM7000 Commander Gaming Headset. And if that brand sounds a little familiar, that's because these are the same people that brought you the Matrix box, that little Android TV box I reviewed not too long ago. Now, this is their first foray into the gaming market, but who knows, if this goes well, they might come out with more goodies. But I'm not here to speculate. Instead, let's go ahead and get this out of the box so we can talk about it, shall we? Let's see. First off, we've got a little USB dongle with a nice long cable. I'll take a closer look at that in a moment. Next, we've got an adapter. This looks like a TRRS to dual TRRS adapter. Once again, I'll get a closer look at that shortly. And let's get this headset out. They taped the mic down, which makes sense due to the fact that it's actually on a flexi shaft. That's kind of rare, especially in this price range. There we go. And the rest of the cable is tucked underneath there. Now, there's actually nothing else under here, so if you're wondering where the instructions are, well, they're right here. Wow, this white is throwing off the white balance of my camera. Can't wait to get this out of the shot. So I'll go ahead and take these for future reference. Now let me swap the camera up so that we can get a closer look at everything. Now that I've got that pesky packaging out of the way, let's take a closer look at this headset. And to start things off, let's focus on the microphone because, well, that's what makes this a headset as opposed to just a set of headphones. Now, unlike a lot of other headset manufacturers, what Vankyo did is run a piece of metal flex tubing throughout the entire shaft, and I actually really like that. It gives me full control over where the microphone's going to end up sitting. 9 times out of 10, what I'm going to come across is actually a solid plastic shaft with just a hinge at the headphone cup. And, well, that works, but you're still going to be limited. If you have a flex shaft, what ends up happening is you just have a single piece of metal wire going through the shaft, and it does work, but I've had them snap on me before, and that's not a good thing. You don't want this to be your default position. Now, one thing you need to keep in mind with the microphone here, though, is that it is a noise-canceling microphone, and when I took this out of the box, it was actually facing downward like so. You can tell the position of the mic because there is a little bit of a tiny hole right in here. I don't know if I can get it to show up on camera. There it is. But as long as you have this portion right here, the little bar facing downward, the microphone's facing your mouth. And that makes a huge difference. It is so good at rejecting background frequencies that when it was facing downward, despite me moving it pretty much all the way to my mouth, I was coming through at about 1/3 the volume that I could potentially pull from this microphone. And if it was rejecting that loud of a noise, imagine what it would do if you're using this while gaming. Next up, let's talk about the headphones themselves because I actually really like them. First and foremost, these are full over-ear cups, and that is my favorite style of headphones. Though I know they're not for everybody, so keep that in mind before ordering. Also, the cushions that you have on the cups are so nice. It has a bit of a faux leather, probably vinyl leatherette material on it that's pretty comfortable. It wicks away sweat ever so slightly, so I can use them for prolonged periods of time without issue, and the foam is super cushy. Also, for the audio drivers, in case you're wondering, it uses 50mm drivers, which gives you a very rich sound. Now, one thing that did catch me off guard with this headset is the fact that they went with the double headband design, and that's not really something that I've ever used in the past. Pretty much every headset or pair of headphones I've ever used has the extendable headband, with the only real exceptions being earbuds or bone conduction headphones. And, well, I have to say it, I'm kind of in love. During the course of this series, I've discovered that my head is kind of awkwardly sized, so I don't exactly have the easiest time figuring out how far I need to extend my headbands. But with this style, it fits no matter what. In fact, let me zoom out for a second and demonstrate on a creepy mannequin head. All you really need to do is bring the first headband down on your head and let it sit. Now, of course, if you're on the larger head side like I am, you can give it a tug. The little cables extend right there, but it sits perfectly. Also, side note, would you believe this is the least creepy option for this demonstration? Now, I think it's kind of obvious what the next feature I'm going to talk about is, but in case you haven't spotted it yet, I'm talking about this right here. This headset actually has a volume adjustment dial, and I actually really like the positioning. I've always been a big fan of inline volume control on headphones and headsets, but that design has one very big flaw. And that's the fact that I constantly knock the dial during standard operation, and so I'm having to fiddle with it every few minutes if I'm really getting into a game. By positioning it behind the left cup, the only time I find myself adjusting the volume is when I actually mean to do so. Last but not least, let's talk about the Vankyo logo right here, because this is actually why the cable on these headphones terminates in a USB plug. Because all I need to do is plug this into my USB power bank. There you have it. It has a very nice glow. Now, admittedly, I'm more of a green guy, if you couldn't tell, but there's just something about metallic red and red LEDs that I enjoy a lot. And it looks even better when I turn out the lights like so. Speaking of the cable, let's take a closer look. First off, we've got a 2-meter long section of cable with a nice braided fabric outside, and I want to say that brings your total diameter up to about 5 millimeters. Of surprisingly kink-resistant cable, and the fact that it's kink-resistant is a great thing because you're not accidentally shortening your cable by tangling it, and also it's going to last much longer due to the fact that you're not going to be fraying any of the connections inside as easily as you would with most other headphones and headsets. I may or may not have killed many a headset in that manner. Next up is actually the ends you have on here, because as I pointed out earlier, you have a USB plug which does nothing but deliver power to the LEDs, and you also have a TRRS connector so that you can not only use the headphone portion, but the microphone portion on a single plug. And that's great if you want to use these with your smartphone, tablet, and actually most consoles on the market, I believe, support this kind of connector, as well as a lot of different computers, though not all computers and not all consoles. So if you find yourself in a situation where the combined connector is not what you actually need, don't worry, because Vankyo was kind enough to include a splitter. So you can take your TRRS connector, split it into two TRS connectors, or tip ring sleeve and tip ring sleeve. I really should have mentioned that a second ago. And one of them is dedicated for the headphones and the other is for the microphone. So it all works. Heck, throw a stereo to mono converter on this thing and you can actually hook it up with one of the USB mixers I reviewed a while back. But wait, there's more. Because the CM7000 also includes this. This is a USB sound card with a 1 meter long cable that includes the same braided coating from the headset itself, as well as a ferrite core to eliminate interference, as well as a combo jack and USB power pass-through for the headset's LEDs, on-device volume control, mute button, power button for the headset's LEDs if you have it plugged in, and to top it all off, 7.1 virtual surround sound. In fact, it's the surround sound that caused me to re-record this part of the video, because I severely underestimated it. When I first plugged it in, it seemed like it was doing something, and that something was a little bit of equalization, because I did notice that when playing first-person shooters, certain sound effects popped more, things like gunshots or the beeps of proximity mines, but it kind of felt like it was doing something else as well, so I did a little bit of digging. And I found out virtual surround sound does a good bit more than I was giving it credit for. Now, while I don't know the exact method utilized in this little box here, I do know that one of the more popular methods is to repeat the sounds that are supposed to be isolated to a single audio channel on the other one at a reduced volume and a slight delay. And what that's going to do is fill out the sound space a bit. Now, the reason I didn't notice this as much as I should have when I first tried out the feature is because I was using it on a modern game. And the sound designers for a lot of those games take headphones into account. So they're going to have a trick or two like that already built in. However, when you're playing some older games, that's not necessarily going to be the case. And you don't even have to go that far back in order to find really good examples. And one game I was playing recently that really brought the effect to the forefront is Fear 2. Which I'm only now getting around to playing despite the fact that I bought the trilogy in a bundle a while back for like $5. At certain parts in the game, you're going to find yourself sitting in an armored personnel carrier getting briefed on what's going down in that mission. And if you look around the cabin, what ends up happening is your character only has one ear pointing towards the person that's talking. And because of the sound design of the game, you feel like you went deaf in your other ear if you're wearing headphones. I don't know about you, but I find that very disconcerting. But when I was playing the game with the virtual surround sound turned on, I could still tell which direction the sound was coming from, but because of the slight echo I was getting in my other ear, it sounded like I was actually in the room. It really helped my immersion. Now, I'm not going to be using those scenes in this video to demonstrate this feature because I do want to keep things family friendly on this channel, despite the fact that my analytics say the majority of my viewers are in the 18 to 44-year-old demographic, but I found a solution. And it's something I hope the people in the 18 to 44-year-old demo are going to recognize, because I encountered the exact same effect when playing the original Half-Life, specifically the intro. Now, I'm not going to show you the entire 5-minute long intro, but what I will do is show you a few set pieces from the intro, once with the original game audio and once with audio captured from this little guy. And if I did my testing correctly, this should come through in the video, so pop on your headphones and get ready.
Good morning and welcome to the Black Mesa Transit System. This automated train is provided for the security and convenience of the Black Mesa Research Facility personnel. The time is 8:47 a.m. Good morning and welcome to the Black Mesa Transit System. This automated train is provided for the security and convenience of the Black Mesa Research Facility personnel. The time is 8:47 a.m. Missing a scheduled urinalysis or radiation checkup is grounds for immediate termination. If you feel you have been exposed to radioactive or other hazardous materials in the course of your duties, contact your radiation safety officer immediately. Missing a scheduled urinalysis or radiation checkup is grounds for immediate termination. If you feel you have been exposed to radioactive or other hazardous materials in the course of your duties, contact your radiation safety officer immediately. Please stand back from the automated door and wait for the security officer to verify your identity. Before exiting the train, be sure to check your area for personal belongings. Thank you, and have a very safe and productive day. Please stand back from the automated door and wait for the security officer to verify your identity. Before exiting the train, be sure to check your area for personal belongings. Thank you, and have a very safe and productive day.
And that about covers it for the Vankyo Commander CM7000 Gaming Headset. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. How can I wrap things up without letting you hear what the microphone sounds like? And, well, that's why I'm using it to record this part of the video. As for my thoughts on everything, I actually really like this package, especially at the price range. Before re-recording this video, I did a little bit of research into how much you can expect to pay for a USB audio card with 7.1 virtual surround sound, and you're looking at between $20 to $30. With the primary differences being the fact that the lower cost models plug straight into the computer instead of using an extension cable, and they don't have the ability to toggle the virtual surround sound on and off. And if you take those prices into account, this package is definitely a steal because it comes in at $30 on Amazon. And in my opinion, the headset alone is worth the cost of entry. So if you like everything you've seen and heard throughout the course of this video, I'm going to go ahead and leave an Amazon affiliate link down in the description below. And until next time, this is your Guy Cly, signing off.